Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. I'm your host, Mark Caples, and this is season 2. We're super excited to kick this thing off. This episode served as the pilot. We kind of learned some things doing this one. I took a direction that I thought was going to work, and YouTube kind of threw a wrench in that. I had hoped to have lots of clips from the movie, and when we recorded it, me and Seth are actually watching the movie as we're discussing it. I tried a bunch of different versions, a bunch of different edits of this video, and YouTube kept kicking them back, saying that it violated copyright laws. Well, at least their copyright law. So unfortunately, I had to really scale this back. The version that you're about to see is not the version that I hoped to share with you. However, we're making some big strides here at the Hard Knock University podcast. The channel's growing. We just got over 500 subscribers. That gets me to that first tier of monetization where I can start attaching the shop to it, where you can buy the book, buy merchandise. We're going to do t-shirts, hats, things like that. And you can get all of that directly from these YouTube videos. So that's great. However, the director's cut, so to speak, of this video can't go on YouTube. So I'm going to find another way that you guys can access that, be it through Patreon or what have you. We'll figure that out. It's going to come. All right. We'll have the full length director's cuts of these. Meanwhile, the audio version over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to the audio version of your podcasts, it'll have a lot of those clips. Anyway, nonetheless, I've given you everything that I could fit into this. YouTube didn't flag, and I hope that you enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, stay greedy, stay fearless, stay dangerous.
Oh, hi, Mark. So why specifically project management and leadership?
Because that's what the book is about.
Why is the book about that?
It's a made-up tale.
The 7 sacred lessons from the School of Hard Knocks.
This one was invented by a writer.
I learned the hard way. Actually, it was a good learning experience.
It's a total fabrication. It never happened.
It's the Hard Knock University podcast, where real talk meets real lessons, and we all graduate with honors in the School of Life.
Wretched, isn't it?
Welcome back, Hard Knockers. It's your favorite headmaster of mayhem, Mark Caples, and this right here, well, this is the Hard Knock University season 2. We made it somehow. Through project delays, toddler tantrums, economic chaos, and the never-ending war on the inbox. But we're back, funnier, sharper, and just dangerous enough to get kicked out of corporate leadership retreats.
F&A, Cotton, F&A.
That's right. This season, we're flipping the script and diving into the dark side of project villainy. We're breaking down leadership and project management lessons from your favorite cinematic bad guys. Because let's be real, a lot of these villains, well, they had plans, they had strategy, and they had teams. They just lacked that thing called, emotional intelligence.
Look, you may not be as academically inclined as are we. Yes, that's how you say it. But you possess an intelligence I envy, the ability to read people's minds.
Well, I can't read people's minds. Actually, that's not true. I can read men's minds, but only because it's usually the one thing.
And we're kicking off with the pinky-wielding parody of Project Misalignment himself, Dr. Evil, from Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery, with my brother Seth Caples. For our book of the week, we're flipping the script from toxic masculinity to domestic clarity with Fair Play by Eve Rodsky. Because whether you're running a household or a henchman HQ, invisible labor will tank your culture faster than an unpaid intern in a volcano layer.
Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
This ain't your average leadership podcast. It's chaos, it's comedy, it's career advice, all soaked in real-life lessons, a little cigar smoke, and some dad jokes. So sharpen your pencils and your wit. Class is in session. Let's dissect Dr. Evil's disaster piece and learn what not to do when trying to rule the world or just run a team meeting. This is the Hard Knock University podcast, where real talk meets real lessons.
Calling all musicians and industry pros. Do you want to turn your hard knocks into breakthroughs? Well, the Hard Knock University podcast is proud to partner with SMG Academy, the ultimate music industry mentorship platform founded by 20-year veteran Mark Sebi. SMG Academy delivers real-world training From touring strategies to publishing secrets, straight from the trenches of the Texas music scene. Whether you're an artist, a manager, a songwriter, doesn't matter. SMG's courses and community will fast track your success. Ready to level up? Visit smgacademy.com and use code HKU2025 for 15% off of your first enrollment. Brought to you by SMG Academy, where hustle meets harmony. Tune in to the Hard Knock University Podcast Season 2, dropping soon, and learn more at leadershipknocks.com.
I have been stabbed, shot, poisoned, frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned.
Oh, really?
And every morning I wake up without a scratch on me, not a dent in the fender. I am an immortal.
All right, Hard Knockers, before we throw Dr. Evil under the metaphorical project management bus, let's talk about my week. But first, just got a quick correction. Last season, I made a little jab. I said Taylor Swift didn't write her own songs. Well, turns out my wife politely, and by politely I mean with the fiery rage of 1,000 suns, informed me that yes, Taylor Swift does in fact write her own songs. Apparently, she's written a lot of them, like entire albums, lyrics, melodies, bridges, the whole thing. So, official correction, albeit under duress, Taylor Swift is not just a pop star. She's a songwriting terminator sent from the future to destroy our emotions. I stand corrected. I am sorry, Taylor Swift. I am sorry, Taylor Swift's fans. Please don't show up outside my house with friendship bracelets and baseball bats.
I
don't feel safe.
All right, now I've avoided a public relations disaster, so back to the real show. My week. First things first, I finally upgraded my mic game. That's right, I am now speaking into a Shure SM7DB, and let me tell you, this thing is smoother than a bourbon poured by Morgan Freeman. It's got built-in gain, so no more fumbling with cloud lifters or whispering sweet nothings to my old mic hoping it behaves. It picks up just the right amount of grit in my voice, enough to say I mean business. But not so much that you hear me breathing like a Sith Lord between takes. Seriously though, this mic has been a game changer for the studio. I'm looking forward to slowly upgrading more gear and taking the production value of this show to a level that matches our heart behind it. We're building Hard Knock University 1 decibel at a time. Now let's talk about Easter. The bunny came and went, but the real party was my nephew's birthday at Schlitterbahn in New Braunfels. We had a blast. And yeah, we got season passes. Why? Well, because Canyon Lake is basically a puddle right now. All the boat ramps are closed. The water line's receding faster than my hairline. And it's a sobering reminder. We're in a drought, y'all. Water conservation isn't just a buzzword. It's survival mode. Shorter showers, smarter irrigation, and maybe let your lawn go a little rustic chic this year. The grass will forgive you.
No.
Now, here's something that definitely didn't dry up. I got my first 20,000 views on YouTube. Let's go. It's got me on track to finally monetize the channel. The response has been overwhelmingly positive, and I just want to say thank you, everybody. Seriously, you made it happen. You watched, you liked, you commented, and now season 2 is shaping up to be a whole new level of awesome. I've got high expectations, not just for the YouTube series. See, now I need to figure out how to recreate that same magic on the audio side. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple or wherever, do me a favor, share the show, rate it, review it. Let's bring the same energy we brought to YouTube over to podcast land and give this baby some wings. All right, that's my week. New mic, birthday bash at a water park oasis, YouTube's blowing up, drought reminder to keep it tight with the H2O, and big dreams for season 2. Okay, let's get into it. All right, Hard Knockers, before we dive into the leadership lessons from Dr. Evil, let's set the stage. It's May 2nd, 1997. Tony Blair has been elected Prime Minister of the UK, ending 18 years of conservative rule. In the world of entertainment, the top movie at the box office is Breakdown, thriller starring Kurt Russell, which grossed over $12 million that weekend. going to be honest, I've never seen that movie. But on the music charts, the Notorious B.I.G.'s Hypnotize is the #1 song in the U.S., dominating the Billboard Hot 100. As for notable births, actress Lena Condor, known for her role in To All the Boys I've Loved Before, was born on May 11th, 1997. Maybe Gen Z knows who that is. I don't. And in the realm of notable passings, Brenda Carlin, television producer and the wife of comedian George Carlin, passed away on May 11th. So with the world buzzing from political shifts to chart-topping hits, Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery hits theaters, introducing us to the quirky villain Dr. Evil. So let's unpack the leadership and project management lessons that we can extract from this hilarious character with my brother, Seth Caples. So, Seth, thanks for doing this pilot of season 2 with me, where we're going to break down leadership styles and project management styles of various movie villains. I'm super excited to be doing Austin Powers and Dr. Evil with you first. For everybody listening, Seth's my brother. We grew up together, and this movie came out in 97, so I was 12.
Don't get me doing math. If you were 12, I would have been
9.
Yeah.
And we quoted this movie on the daily. Yeah, baby, you know?
Wrong.
Yeah, this movie, if nothing else, it's super quotable. When I watch these older movies, I'm always like, does it hold up? And in a sense, no, it doesn't. In a sense, yes, because the point of the movie is that the standards of the 90s don't hold up to the standards of the 1960s, and the standards of the 90s don't hold up to the standards of the 20s. I mean, we're 2 years shy of exactly 30 years from the release of this movie. Waited 2 years to do this. The movie's about a 30-year time jump, and we would have been 30 years after that 30-year time jump if we just waited 2 more years.
Yeah, and the message still holds up, you know?
Yeah, we'll get into as we get there the parts where I'm like, ugh, you know what I mean? You got tons of notes. I took some notes. I don't have them because they're on my phones, and we're using the phones to record with, so I'm not going to be able to access them.
I wrote my notes in serial killer form.
You sure did. You have 5 pages of notes. I'm glad because I have nothing, but I watched this movie about 5 times to prepare for this, and so I have a lot of thoughts. But yeah, jumping right in, it opens up 1967, somewhere outside of Las Vegas.
Immediately with Dr. Evil.
Yeah. And I love that immediately we get this Ernst Stavro Blofeld-esque, like, this is James Bond. Yes, is James Bond. This is a Donald Pleasance James Bond.
It's a James Bond spoof.
Yeah. And then we don't get to see, I want that ring, that Evil Enterprises ring. We don't get to see Dr. Evil's face. So we don't know that that's Michael Myers yet. And the first thing that he does is start offing all of his staff Will Ferrell's first movie role, and
no kidding,
and it's brownface. Okay,
it's brownface. I didn't even look at it like that. That's hilarious.
Well, interestingly enough, it doesn't look like there's any makeup on him in that scene, but then 30 years later, in the next scene that you see him in, it's totally brownface. And that's one of those things where it's like that was perfectly acceptable in 1997, but now. I guess Will Ferrell gets a pass because he's Will Ferrell, but that would be frowned upon today. But my question is he like a evil Shriner, or is he like a Turkish scientist?
Good question. You're getting into the details of this. I love it.
No, he's clearly a Turkish scientist, but I see evil Shriner. And the Shriners are actually Freemasons. So, it's not a stretch.
That's funny because later on I point out how the Illuminati's in this movie.
I'm sure as soon as you point it out, I'm going to be like, well, duh.
We'll get to it.
The intro, it's fun. I love this. Every good spy movie has like the signature car. And in this one, it's the Jaguar, the Shagwire.
Yeah, the Shagwire. Wait, pause. First,
right there's the Shagwire.
First opening scene I've tied to your book. Beautifully.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Beautifully.
So, yeah. So right off the bat, Dr. Evil just offs half of his guys, more than half of his crew, for incompetence because, they failed to kill Austin Powers. And then he sets out his goal for the movie right off the bat. He just very clear, we're going to kill Austin Powers. That's our goal. That's our villain's goal at the end of the day is to kill Austin Powers. Now, he has like a whole thing to get there. He has to draw him out by, coming up with an evil plan to hold the world ransom. But at the end of the day, the goal is to kill Austin Powers.
And apparently none of his people can do it.
Right.
And so he terminates 2/3 of his crew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a real thing in project management.
Huge layoffs right off the bat.
Yeah.
And
which is an uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, makes very clear the goals to the remaining team, and very clear the failure will not be tolerated. Here's the goal, and the stakes are life or death.
Yeah.
So these guys have to believe in the mission, Yeah, love the Shagwire, love Mimi Rogers. Then all right, so this cracks me up too. Basil Exposition. What a great name, because what is M if not just there for exposition? We're just getting some exposition. I love the name, the Electric Psychedelic Pussycat Swingers Club. Yeah. All right, so we've got the Electric Psychedelic Pussycat Swingers Club is like under a Big Boy franchise that Dr. Evil is hidden a rocket inside of. So you've got to give Dr. Evil some huge kudos for his ability to set us up with a rocket in downtown London above a swingers club in a Big Boy rocket. I mean, without anybody catching on. The British Secret Service didn't catch on. They didn't know that he had set up this rocket with a cryogenic deep freezer inside there.
Through the process of managing people, Mike, he didn't do it. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Now, this scene here. This chick comes up.
Clearly a chick in this scene, in this part of the scene.
He hits her so hard he knocks the gender off of her. Because when we see her again, she's a man. Now, the thing is, you can't out somebody like that anymore. Like, you'd get in a lot of trouble. And of course, her reaction to being outed in public is to draw a switchblade on him. That's the appropriate reaction. If you're a trans lady and somebody outs you in public, that the appropriate reaction not in 1997, but certainly in 2027 is to draw a switchblade. We still haven't seen Dr. Evil's face. There's Mr. Bigglesworth, and he launches himself into space. And now we're getting into time management. He's succeeded at putting together this rocket ship inside of a Big Boy above the Electric Pussycat Swingers Club, and without anybody noticing. And now he freezes himself for 30 years. I mean, he didn't really lay out why.
I didn't tie it to time management.
I mean,
he's playing the long game.
He's playing the long game. He's come to the conclusion, I guess he's tried this so many times, that the technology doesn't exist in 1967 to be able to kill Austin Powers.
Yeah, he's an evil genius, but he's actually kind of a moron.
Certainly. So 30 years later, he returns. We have some pretty good comedy with what's this guy's name?
Oh, this fella?
Clint Howard. Clint Howard. Yeah, I love seeing Clint Howard anytime in any movie. It's always just a pleasure to see him. America's sweetheart. This guy that plays the general, he's played a military officer and all kinds of stuff. In many ways, the Big Boy never left, sir. He's always been serving up great burgers at good prices. Good stuff. But he's back. They clock it. He calls London up and says, hey.
Yeah, the general hears rather that it's the Big Boy, and he knows this shit is hitting the fan.
Yeah.
Get Austin Powers.
We got Gary Coleman in Vanilla Ice on ice. The hair on the chest is hilarious. The bad teeth is hilarious. This guy had to get prosthetic bad teeth made. Just taking jobs from British people, I love the warm liquid goo phase. I'm stealing that clip.
Oh, it'll be a great one.
Warm liquid goo phase. That's going to be great for the podcast.
Yeah, nice little cut too.
And then this whole, he's been asleep for 30 years, so he's all groggy and shit.
Isn't that a very Terminator-esque scene just now?
Oh, yeah. And the whole movie does callbacks to these other movies. But yeah, the way that he's all groggy after being asleep for 30 years. The pee scene is brilliant comedy. I'm having trouble controlling the volume of my voice. This scene cracks me up because he wouldn't know that the Cold War was over.
Right.
The Russian guy. Are you?
Hey, comrades.
Hey, comrades. Yay, capitalism. And of course, we know who it is. When do I begin? So the game is afoot. More comedy gold. This whole scene is iconic. Little cutaway scene. He comes back for it. Anyway, the cutaway scene with him dancing. And then we're back at VirtueCon. This is where we find out a little more about Dr. Evil's operation and how it's fared over the past 30 years.
And where he terminates more crew members.
Yeah. So he's pissed off that Mr. Bigglesworth's hair didn't make the freeze. Very clear brown face. And this is the first time that we actually see Michael Myers' face as Dr. Evil in the movie. A good 16 minutes into the movie. I remember this being just the funniest scene. Excuse me.
Yeah, kill him.
So he talks down to his people on the phone, Yes, raw. Not very respectful to, his team. Moving along. I moved us back, didn't I? Anyway, we start meeting the staff. We've got this guy, Random Task, who every time we see is performing a random task. That guy is serving life in prison. Did you know that, right? The guy that plays Random Task?
Say what now?
He's serving life in prison. So before this movie was ever filmed, he kidnapped and tortured some 19-year-old girl. And then I guess they were able to find out, hey, that's the guy from watching the movie. Caught him.
What?
While he was in prison, he killed his cellmate. That dude's in prison for life. This scene's improvised.
What? Most of this movie, I think, is improvised.
Yeah. A lot of it, sure. They have they follow the script and they'll get what as the script is from a couple angles. And then they're like, have fun with it this time around. And Frau Verbitsna improvised the whole TV commercial thing, She improvised all that.
I can't even believe they had a psychopath on the set. Every project manager needs a number 2.
I mean, really, the Evil Enterprises or whatever it is, Verchicon, has been more successful in Dr. Evil's absence with number 2 running the show.
Correct.
When he gets out of the way, they thrive.
Yeah. I would assume he's a better project manager and a better leader.
He was even able to acquire a factory to build models of factories. So Plan 1, which is interesting because they filmed this before Princess Diana died. Then it released after she died. So it was kind of in bad taste at the time. So with the British release in the UK, they made him edit it. And it was a different plan.
Do we know what that plan was?
Man, I don't. I'm Googleable. Plan 2, which is the Alan Parsons project. Another thing you want to know about. It's been 30 years. But I love that he's got, 2 plans in the canon. And then whenever both of those get shot down by the people that, have been around for 30 years.
Yeah, that's adapting.
Yeah.
Right? That's pivoting. That's in your book.
Yeah. So the plan we land on is, fuck it. We'll do what we always do. We'll steal some nuclear warheads and take over the world. Which is the plot of every single James Bond movie.
Right.
And clearly they've done it many, many times before. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, we can do that. They know this one.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't know about inflation. So not the most competent leader, but quick to adapt. He has adaptability skills.
Yeah, which is, in less than 7, even the best plans will fall apart. And in the first 3 scenes where we see him, everything's falling apart for him.
Sure. But he's very quick to just be like, all right, it's cool. I got a plan. He has his composure,
Mm-hmm.
He has authority and, I'm coming up with these plans and he listens to what everybody says. And he's like, all right. Immediately takes that in and says, all right, we'll do this instead. Now, then we have Austin Powers on the plane. We don't really need any of that scene to keep the plot going. But then we get back to around the dock.
This is where we meet Scott, right?
Yes. So we know that Scott, the intention was that, if this whole freezing Dr. Evil thing doesn't work out, we gotta continue his bloodline. So again, we're talking about planning ahead, planning for, the possible death of the leader of the company. You know what I mean? And what would we do in that instance? And they've got a plan. No. Are we still recording with these network connectivity problems?
Technical difficulties.
I think we're still recording. Picture mode is closed.
Well, this would be great to talk about during this technical difficulty. The constant board. In the first 3 scenes we see him, there's 2 different board meetings. I like the board meetings constantly. The constant board meetings and the introducing all of his crew members and their roles and their specialties. That reminded me of your the old House Reborn, where you had you so perfectly coordinated your crew members.
Yeah, and he's got different crew members with different strengths. I mean, I couldn't tell you what their strengths are. Voss is a scientist. Number 2 is a bureaucrat. I couldn't tell you what Frau Farbritznot does, but and then
she woos him.
And the Lucky Charms guy is there for comedic relief.
Right. Also, the what's his name? Taskmaster? Not Taskmaster.
Random Task is there to perform random tasks.
She's the muscle. She's very enthusiastic about this introductory here.
Now we find out, in another movie that
They did the deed.
Yeah.
That's her.
she lied because he didn't know yet. I guess she knows something about time travel. She can't break the time continuum. I don't know, man. The timey-wimey stuff gets complicated, but that's funny in that those movies do that shit all the time. That James Bond does it to itself, where it's like, what is this?
Oh, yeah.
tell that doesn't make sense if you think about all the other movies.
Great
You know what I
point.
mean? But I mean, you can sort of explain it away with enough time paradox, side talk. He is not hit, but somehow he has found out about the Macarena.
Yeah, which happened in the 90s.
Yeah,
He's been researching.
It takes
After looking like a fool.
Yeah, it takes Austin Powers pissing off Veronica or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
To go start, checking into, how the world has changed. And Dr. Evil's already started. So he immediately started looking at, the how pop culture has changed. And really, Intelligence's project management is not any better than Dr. Evil's. I mean, Vanessa is a fembot, and they know the whole time.
Right.
VirtueCon, which is brilliant because, virtue is a good thing,
But
everyone wants
con.
But it's a con, yeah.
I'd say the virtue is a con.
The dealer is the
I
suit
made that connection either.
from Seinfeld. So we're going to meet Mr. Is it Mr. 2?
Number 2.
Number 2.
Mr. 2 is in the
Suit Nazi. And then we have a lot of vagina, which was hilarious. It's still hilarious to this day. There's so many of those in all of the James Bond franchise.
Right.
What would yours, if you were writing a spoof movie and you needed a lot of vagina, what would
I like the
Amanda Hug and Kiss?
yeah. I like the Mike Hunt.
I did it in the book.
Mike Oxmall. I love it. I love it.
I couldn't tell you his name, I can't do it.
I want to know who that is.
Sue.
Talk later.
He'll sue. And so yeah, he's Mike Oxmall.
It's one I've never heard.
Myself. Brilliant comedy. Him and his wife Oprah. Come again. And then we get to the scene in the men's restroom.
Does number 2 work for?
Yeah, but even before that,
our what's it called? Our cameo from Tom Arnold.
Yeah, Tom Arnold, who was in everything back then. This was at the peak of Tom Arnold's, sweet, Tom Arnold's in this, True Lies, I think, was 95,
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole, are you at the show? No, I'm British. Oh, I'm sorry.
His delivery was so good. He played that role so.
Yeah, peak Tom Arnold. Peak Mike Myers. I mean, this was after Wayne's World 1, Wayne's World 2. He decided not to do a Wayne's World 3 and instead pursued this and started this whole trilogy.
I love how this is full bore British and full bore American.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Like it's a disability. He's not sorry because he didn't identify that he's British. He's sorry because he is British.
Yes.
You almost expect there to be a glory hole for these guys to hold hands the way that he coaches them. But yeah, you had this transition period where your Chevy Chases and your first group of SNL cast members had kind of done their whole movie run, and we were on to the new guys. Adam Sandler was starting the newer generation of SNL cast members were starting their movie careers. You had Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore was real big. Mike Myers had just done the Wayne's World movies, did one movie where he plays the everyman. I Married an Axe Murderer, which I guess wasn't a bad movie, but
I skipped that one.
It wasn't. In all of Mike Myers' movies, he plays just, it's comedy. It's nonstop punchlines, jokes. It's quotable stuff. Except for I Married an Axe Murderer. And that one, he's just your everyday guy. And it wasn't his lane. His lane is characters. He plays characters. And so this trilogy gave him an opportunity to really shine. Even if he did steal people's characters in doing it. That the Dr. Evil is all stolen.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dana Carvey did an impression of Lorne Michaels.
I know what you're getting at, and Mike Myers disputes this.
Really?
Yes. He says that it's completely a spoof of Blofeld.
Sure, but his mannerisms and everything, it's a Lorne Michaels impression.
Right, this thing where Lorne Michaels would chew his fingernail and stuff. Yeah, Mike Myers disputes that.
Of course he would.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I love all the characters at the United Nations. There's
this is the Illuminati, Mark. He's giving the ultimatum to the. I mean, look at it. It's fucking. I love how Canada is the the like Rangers outfit.
The Mounties, the Canadian Mounties. There's a sumo wrestler.
Come on.
The guy with the bagpipes.
A Spaniard, a bullfighter.
But
it's like a caricature.
Is it the Illuminati or is it just the United Nations? I mean, it said it's the United Nations.
That's what I said, the Illuminati. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
The evil laugh thing.
So this is what did I call that? That's a completion ceremony, you know?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
They've ended phase.
Phase 1's complete. They've got the... You notice we skip right by the actual stealing of the nuclear missiles?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how good they are at that part. Like, they've done this over and over again. They've never been able to complete it and get the, hold the world ransom and actually kill Austin Powers. But phase 1 is easy for them. They've made it through this part over and over again. Stealing the actual warheads is a cakewalk.
They're much better at just regular business than they are dominating the world.
This scene it still holds up. A hilarious comedy here.
Yeah, and the skill involved. Like, how many takes do you think that took?
Well, she's very clearly got monitors. She's looking at a monitor over here. And then you'll see her look the other direction occasionally. There's another monitor over there. But she looks over at the other monitor so that she can kind of in real time see what's going on,
I want to know how much they cracked up before they could get it.
But she looks back at the monitor. She's looking at the monitor. This is hilarious. Looking at the monitor. Yeah, it would have been better if she wasn't looking at the monitor so much, but it's still great. Virtuecon Worldwide Headquarters. Random task performing a random task. I love this joke.
All the while being a complete psychopath. That blows my mind.
I never
forget to bullshit.
So a lot of this is just, these two falling in love with each other. But yeah, I'm taking pictures of you, so you should fall in love with me,
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, Baccarat. I mean, come on, baby. You wouldn't fall in love?
And I love, all those movies pick a musician and really dive into that. And it's hilarious that they picked Burt Baccarat, like single-handedly salvaged Burt Baccarat's career. So then they're drunk, and this is where it doesn't hold up because, and I don't think it ever really held up in that she's drunk. He won't sleep with her because she's drunk.
Yeah,
which
shows that he's an actual gentleman, right?
Yeah, it's what it's supposed to show. But what does he immediately do? He leaves and goes and fucks somebody else.
That's a part of his time. He's a product of his time.
That, and it's a part of the mission. He's collecting intelligence, and that involves sleeping with a lot of vagina.
Yeah, in spite of him also being kind of a moron, he's actually a good spy, right?
Yeah, in that sense. But if you're trying to woo Vanessa Fembot over here and actually be serious about this relationship, and all I'm saying is that it completely undoes this gesture here where he's like, I can't sleep with you because you're drunk.
Right. Yeah.
But
it does.
But I can go get some strange on the side while you're asleep.
This baby.
No, I can't. You're drunk. And
when you're surrounded by halal vagina.
So Basil calls. He's got America Online 3.0.
So familiar.
The movie director, I guess, I read this on IMDb, wanted to get some product placement in there. He reaches out to AOL. They give him 1 year free AOL to do this scene where he's using AOL in that scene with the product placement.
Interesting.
Yeah. On top of that, in Mike Myers, they had done all this brilliant comedy where they're making fun of product placement. And then they do it in this movie. But here's the thing about 1 free year of AOL. Isn't that exactly what all of those discs that you got in the mail was? It was here's a free year. Just please use our service. Put this in your computer for the next 12 hours while it downloads.
They were basically begging people.
Yeah. They were giving away 1 year to everybody. It wasn't anything special.
How long did AOL last? Not long.
I love that, he's a photographer at heart. Yeah, give it to me, baby. Give it to him. He's taking pictures of the plans. Yeah. No.
Vagina.
So we're getting information.
You told me.
He always does that. He'll say something clever and he has to look at whoever's with him, that was great, wasn't it? There's nobody to look at. So he just looks off camera. If somebody was over there, they'd think that was great.
It's just so bad as a comedian. Don't laugh at your own jokes.
But that's the brilliance of Mike Myers is after the joke, there's the delivery and then he'll punch a joke with a look.
Yes.
There's when he's doing the therapy with Scott and he's like, he's kind of a chip off the old block and looks at him kind of like, oh, I love my son. And then immediately looks at him like, oh, fuck you. You know what I mean? Realizes this line coming up. So this is a spoof from a James Bond movie with Sean Connery. I can't remember which one, but he goes to Japan. And I swear I thought that this was like a direct quote where she goes, in Japan, women come second. And it's just sometimes not at all, which is brilliant. That's not how the quote goes in James Bond. I think that in James Bond, it's more like, in Japan, men come first. And he's just like, well, I could get used to this. But this is so much better, so much funnier. So he sleeps with a lot of vagina. That's a spot. The cutaways, they crack me up.
I love the cutaways from scene to scene.
Okay. So
any suggestions?
Dr. Evil knows. He's one step ahead. He knows very well that Austin Powers is getting close, that he's slept with a lot of vagina. Now, they developed this in Dr. Evil's absence. He's being presented with this information. I'm surprised that none of the fembots are like all of a sudden famous actresses. Like if they had gotten somebody that like wasn't big back then, but is huge now, it just seems like something that would have happened, but clearly not. They can't do it. Got to cover Dr. Bigglesworth's eyes. So yeah, again, VirtueCon excels in random task, performing a random task. Excels in Dr. Evil's absence. This sex bots were created while he was frozen. The makeshift headquarters. Now this is your Q scene where we're going to get some gadgets, but we don't. That's the brilliance of this comedic scene. Like, that one's cool. All right. No, you have bad teeth. There's a gadget, and this is, we need to have a conversation about your fangs.
Yeah.
And then, why Basil's exposition has his mom there is beyond me, but
this is another. Well, I'm glad you have editing.
I'm not going to.
This episode brought to you by Riverside. Great. Brother's a moron. He tries to call out another transgender. It doesn't go out well.
Right. Yeah. Probably should have left the second one out. I mean, it is funny that this time he's wrong, But again, why does he even have his mom there in the first place? And occasionally Mike Myers will try to do, there's a theme in comedy where like you set up a joke, you remind the audience of the joke, and then you hit him with the kill shot, Mike Myers instead just like, here's an ill attempted a kill shot. And then, hey, remember that ill attempted a kill shot? There's no nuance to his comedy. He just dives right in it. And I guess in the 90s, him being wrong about this one desensitizes the other one. I don't know. Also, I don't think that anybody gave a shit what emotions a trans person had in the 90s. Different world. It was a different world. Austin. Yeah. Can't talk like that, dude. Yeah. It's uncomfortable.
Trust me, I know.
Okay. This scene cracks me up. And this is where that Lorne Michaels scene impression really shines. Carrie Fisher. I have a theory about Carrie Fisher in this movie. So Mike Myers wrote the movie, right? And he's got a lot of those jokes that are like, Mike, ease up. You know what I mean? Well, Carrie Fisher had a reputation in Hollywood as a script doctor. Like, you give her a script, she could like clean it up, punch it up, delete a joke, add a joke, move a joke to a different scene, and she turned dog shit scripts into really good scripts all the time. She had a reputation for it.
Interesting.
I have a theory that she worked on this script. She obviously got a copy and probably was like, hey, I have some thoughts. She was very vocal. If she had thoughts, she'd let you know. So I'll bet some of like the tiny jokes and stuff like that probably went too far. And she was like, let's clean this up a little, Mike.
I like this theory. I like it.
He wanted to get a Bond gal to play this therapist role. He tried to get the chick, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she played Pussy Galore.
Okay.
Yeah. She turned it down.
Mike Myers didn't originally want to play Dr. Evil.
Yeah, he wanted Jim Carrey to do it.
Yes, but then also offered it to Colin Quinn, and Colin Quinn, yes, you can look this up, denied it and regrets it.
I'll bet. But this movie probably would have bombed with Colin Quinn. Colin Quinn has never played anything. Okay, first of all, Colin Quinn has always been 50. He's just always been 50.
Listen, I was just as blown away as you are when I heard that. But in preparation for this, I figured that out.
My whole thing is, you stole the impression from Dana Carvey. You just did 2 very successful movies with Dana Carvey. You guys work well together, I guess. Maybe they didn't work well together, but he was right there. Dana Carvey would have been great. If you ask me, Dana Carvey's funnier than Mike Myers.
Well, he's certainly more exciting, more energetic, sillier, you know? He's like Mike Myers turned up.
Yeah. I mean, Mike Myers does characters.
Well, so does
Dana Carvey does impressions.
Dana Carvey absolutely does characters.
He does impressions.
Isn't he the one that did
Breathtaking.
the Disguise movie where he's the master of disguise?
Yeah. That was like his biggest movie that he did on his own. He's always been kind of a sidekick, you know?
That's a good point, yeah.
But he would have been great as Mike Myers' sidekick through this whole journey, you know?
No doubt about it.
But that thing, the whole, you know, using one actor to play multiple roles was kind of in its heyday back then. You had the Nutty Professor.
Yeah, I mean, this movie was during a time where Jim Carrey was killing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Robin Williams was also killing it during that time.
Jim Carrey did Liar Liar in '97, which was
during this movie. Yeah,
great movie.
Yeah. That's what he didn't. That's what he turned down this movie for. Was Liar Liar.
Yeah, right. A condom. Only sailors use condoms. They should. Don't have a thrombo. But yeah, he, you know, explains that he's not the bad guy here. He was just doing his job, just following orders. Where have we heard that before?
And also, she meant nothing to me, baby. Yeah.
So then he feels bad. So now he's going to go try to look up people he knows that are dead and do a little research, finally, where we know that Dr. Evil's already a step ahead of him on that. He's already done his research. Now we're back at VirtueCon, and the mission is beginning. Austin Powers hadn't gotten any sleep. He stayed up all night studying about the 90s. This is like his first attempt at the Love Guru, which was a garbage movie.
Yeah, it really was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It had its moments that were laughable.
Okay, so he says we make volatile chemicals, but VirtueCon was making volatile chemicals in the 60s, and in the beginning of the movie, number 2 said we shifted from volatile chemicals to communications. And now here we are back at volatile chemicals. Plot hole.
I guess Carrie should have touched that up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Where were you on that, Miss Fisher? All right, now we're in disguise as scientists. We're not fooling anybody. Bolton caught him. Now, one of the greatest comedic moments in all of television is coming with the steamroller. I feel like, so I'm teaching my daughter to drive. This is like what my biggest fear is, that we're going to be in a parking lot with one other car in this entire parking lot. And I'm going to be like, stop, either turn or hit the brake, do one or the other. And she's just going to really slowly crash into somebody's car. I feel like that's in my future. And maybe this movie is what put it in my head. Random task, performing another random task. Early Elon Musk Boring Company tunnel. I went to Las Vegas. Hey, this is in Las Vegas. And they put those into the convention center so that you can get from like the south wing to the east wing to the west wing. You go to these little staircases, go down, and they'll assign you to a car, or there's other parts where the tunnels come up out of the ground, and the cars will come around. You tell them, I'm going to the West Hall. And they go, okay, get in that line over there. You go get in the line. Car comes, pulls in. They tell him he's going to the West Hall. You get in the car, and they go down in the tunnel and come out the other side. And apparently in a couple of years, they're going to get rid of all the drivers, and it's going to be all driverless. The cars are just going to do it. But yeah, I mean, it looks exactly like that. That was an Elon Musk tunnel. They're putting them in here in San Antonio from the airport to downtown. And I think they're supposed to go from like LA to Las Vegas if they haven't already.
The Illuminati again.
United Nations.
The New World Order, Mark. Read up, bro.
Dr. Evil struggles with the remote control. Now, we're back in James Bond land, because what does the villain always do? Puts James Bond and the girl in quasi-futuristic clothes, feeds them a meal, and then doesn't follow through with killing them, just stuffs them in a room and like, you will die, but I won't see through to it.
Yeah. Spills their entire plan in a crazy monologue.
And this whole... I have a gun in my room. I will go get it. You just don't get it, Scott. So very clearly disappointed in his son. Does not hide it. Frau Bitsna keeps him from killing his own son.
She's clearly invested in this person.
Yeah. That smile. Like, isn't that great? Isn't that great? I'm telling you, he punches. It doesn't translate to podcast land because he punches his jokes with a look.
Yeah.
Now, that's a play on a James Bond line. It's, do you expect me to talk? No, I expect you to die. But yeah, never was the goal to actually, hold the world ransom and get the money. The money doesn't matter to him. He's got VirtueCon. He makes money. He stated at the very beginning that the goal was to kill Austin Powers. In this, he kind of reiterates that not only is he going to kill Austin Powers, but he's going to kill a bunch of people. Because do you expect them to pay? No, I expect them to die.
he strives to be super evil.
Yeah. I mean, in the therapy session, I was thinking about being a veterinarian. An evil veterinarian?
Yeah.
Yes. Disappointed.
Absolutely.
We keep number 2 because he's valuable to the company. We can't just kill him for
The unnecessarily slow-moving dipping mechanism. Scott wants to be efficient.
You just don't get it.
You don't.
No, nobody does.
Improvised scene.
I think you're right, yeah. A preemptive would be something that we would have gotten as children.
Yeah.
The ill-tempered mutated sea bass. And then great callback to Hugh, where he has these items that aren't gadgets, but he actually does use them as gadgets, which, I mean, is actually a good callback to the James Bond books, because in the James Bond books, James Bond didn't have gadgets. It was all of the villains that had neat gadgets, and he just kind of had to adapt with whatever he had.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The movies, the gadgets are all for Bond.
Yeah. And that makes the movies what they are. It's one of those, things that if you don't do it, people get super pissed off, in a new James Bond movie. Casino Royale barely kind of did any gadgets in it, and people didn't like that much. But yeah, that little tidbit is much more closer to the James Bond books, which don't hold up. They were written in the 50s by Ian Fleming, who is sexist and racist. And the opening line, like the very first line of Live or Let Die, the book written in like 1952 or something, goes, James Bond felt like a Negro whose soul had been stolen by the witch doctor. It's terrible. What am I reading?
Man, I believe it was Bob Dylan who said the times they are a-changin'.
That was barely acceptable back then. I don't know. Maybe it was. I guess the civil rights movement didn't happen until the 60s. Okay, now
Here comes another classic comedy scene.
Yeah, heartfelt moment. And whatever happens,
still really bad, baby.
Bad. That's the important thing, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think you should make it about you. She liked it. She liked it a lot. Because he's a little
upshot of the skirt. We do appreciate that.
Especially on her.
Elizabeth
she still looks like that today.
Elizabeth Hurley holds up. Now, I remember as a kid, once he gets it wedged, going, how in the world did they get that thing in there? I know today that these are probably just false walls.
Yeah, I also was like, what?
Yeah.
I love his delivery in that scene. The way he looks backwards and still drives forwards.
So we're going to begin Project Vulcan. Scott's not happy. So we got our giant drill. This outfit is from Dr. No.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much the whole outfits. In Dr. No, they get exposed to radiation and they have to strip them down and clean them and scrub them real good while they're naked and then put them in futuristic outfits. And
yeah, he really did take the piss out of the Bond
movies. Very much so.
Daniel Craig is not happy about that.
I read that. Yeah. So
I think he's quoted saying, hey, he fucked it up for us.
Yeah. He kind of made it so you can't be so campy. I mean, they felt they couldn't be campy.
Yeah. He wanted to take it kind of dark.
Yeah. They felt like because he made fun of the campiness so much, James Bond can't be campy anymore. So we got that very serious run that Daniel Craig did, which I don't hate. Now, my fear is that with the newer stuff in the post-Daniel Craig era, now that MGM has it, I'm afraid that they're going to continue with the modern serious stuff. And what I want to see, I don't even care if they stay serious and avoid the campiness, but I want to see them go back to the 1950s. I want the villains to be former Nazis that are out on the lam, hiding out in Argentina and doing nefarious stuff under the ocean. I have this plot in my head where the Nazis are now based out of Argentina and these little islands systems. And they've got this fleet of submarines where they can take this ship and go hunt out sunken submarines from the war and sink up over them and then pump all the air out and salvage the nuclear stuff. Well, maybe it won't be nuclear at that time, but salvage, these old submarines and stuff. And James Bond's got to go deal with that. And it's, the 1950s.
I love that. I love going back to the 50s. And I'm a bigger fan of the newer, darker, more serious Bond flicks.
Yeah. And I like a movie where they take a hard stance that Nazis are the bad guys. Indiana Jones does it. In Indiana Jones, you know which side of the Nazis land in that movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like the world's kind of forgotten what side those guys are on.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
So Austin Powers is too sexy for the fembots. Oh man, I got to get me a pair of those British underoos, but I need the Texas flag.
There you go. Texas flag, yeah.
And I'll bet Jen would react in that exact same.
You think she'd glitch?
Oh, fuck yeah. But yeah, it blows my mind that not one of these fembots like became some famous, vixen that we see. There's no Megan Fox.
I mean, how do we know they didn't? You think we?
I don't recognize any of them. Do you recognize a single one of these fembots?
They purposely made them all look the same.
But then it's not like the same gal played every one of them.
I never really watched the movie and was like, let me get a good hard look at these ladies. I was looking at Austin Powers, you know what I'm saying?
At ease, boys. All right. Where are we at now? We're going to foil Dr. Evil's plan. We're back to our Dr. No knockoff, except we've got a drill.
A subterranean Dr. Evil clearly doesn't care about safety standards. He left a guy in there to just get pelted by rocks.
I mean, he's got his safety gear on, but yeah.
Well, yeah.
So this outfit that he's wearing, also stolen from James Bond. The blue felt with the puffy, frilly stuff out of the neck and wrists.
Yeah, which movie?
George Lazenby in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. The difference is Lazenby wore a kilt, but from the waist up, it's the exact same outfit.
I bet with a kilt, it looks even more ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's one where Lazenby has a meal with the bad guys, just like we're successfully aborted just before the nuclear warhead reaches the hot magma. All right, we got to get the cat. We got to get the fuck out of here.
Because again, Dr. Evil is playing the long game.
Yeah.
And they aren't so different. Later, we find out they're actually twin brothers.
And then the Daniel Craig movies basically call back to that, man. When they finally introduced Blofeld.
Right.
They're stepbrothers.
Right. Yeah.
It's like...
And so you're going to talk shit about Austin Powers.
And then rip them off.
Yeah. I think it's actually beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Freedom, baby. It's a great message. Right now we've got freedom and responsibility. It's beautiful. It's a very groovy song.
And now, 30 years later, we have way more responsibility and no freedom.
Dr. Evil, there's nothing more pathetic than an aging hipster.
Yeah.
Remember?
That's so he was taking Scott with him, at least. The phallic art on the shelf over there. So... Is it the phallic artwork? So he even liquidated the therapy group. Number 2's taking a fembot.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Now,
a mutiny. I don't think your number 2 betrays you if you're a good leader.
Yeah. So
right after Austin Powers foils your plans.
A good leader, his team has buy-in. Like they believe in the vision without having to be threatened into it. And how him just threatening everybody with the loss of not only their jobs, but their lives. He's failed to inspire them in any way and just tried to rule with an iron fist. And here we are. It's the downfall of them.
Yeah. I mean, it seems he actually hinders them. They're good at their job in spite of him.
Yeah. And number 2 could have walked in with that gun and put one right into Austin Powers.
Like Scott would have done.
Yeah. And been the hero for Dr. Evil. But what does he do instead? He turns on Dr. Evil. Because Dr. Evil's a bad leader.
And proposes a deal with Austin.
Yeah. He gets a little petulant. And it's such a good job with Rob Lowe in the next one.
Oh, yeah.
As a perfect casting. Shouldn't have sat down.
I love how they announce their martial art moves.
Yeah. So gonna freeze himself again. I don't think the explosions play out well on the audio version of the podcast. But they get to the Shagwire. Even after being pursued by everybody, straight on the shifter. I do love that Shagwire. And kaboom. 3 months later.
Lesson 7. Even the best plans fall apart.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if they were good plans, but they fell apart.
Yeah.
And this isn't a callback to all your James Bond movies. He always kills the main villain, but leaves the henchman alive, and the henchman comes for him later. So here we are 3 months later with the henchman. Random task. Who throws a shoe? A little reverse version of that comedy we saw earlier.
Did you know that they didn't really promote this movie very well? So in theaters, it didn't do well. But when it went to VHS and everybody started to go rent VHS movies and saw this on the shelves, they couldn't help themselves but fucking watch it. And when it went to VHS, it blew the fuck up.
Well, that was the Blockbuster era, you know? We always, every weekend, we'd go get a handful of Blockbuster movies, There's always going to be a comedy, a drama, an action movie, we'd like one from every genre, and that was our entertainment for the week at the Balloon. So Random Task comes back around, got a little Joe's son. Yeah, look this guy up.
Takes him out with a penis pump.
I'm surprised there's not a real crime documentary.
She kicked his ass, but she got to get the penis pump joke in.
She's a pinbot. She could have just done that in the beginning.
Precisely. Could have hit him with the glass made out of sugar way before all that.
Just so happens to have his telescope with him.
It's Dr. Evil.
It's a big boy. But that's his whole thing. Not to hold the world hostage, but to get Austin Powers. Going back to the lessons in the book. Lesson 1, you're always uncomfortable. I mean, that is just who...
It's in the first 3 scenes of the movie. It's uncomfortable as hell when you have to terminate your crew. It's uncomfortable when you have to point out your failures, not being able to take out Austin Powers.
Well, I mean, Dr. Evil is just always uncomfortable. That's his baseline. He's just an awkward, unusual man.
And also, I guess we should address the elephant in the room. Lesson 3. Dr. Evil doesn't have a problem being the bad guy.
Yeah, lesson 3. He prefers to be the
bad guy.
That's his lane. Yeah. And he's comfortable with that part of it, you know? And I think that at the end of the day, he's just a sociopath, and sociopaths don't make good leaders. Lesson 2, you'll rarely have all the answers. He's comfortable with that also. Like, when his first 2 plans are shot down because they just don't work, you know, he immediately just accepts that and moves on. You know, I have another plan, you know, so he accepts that he doesn't have all the answers. He tried to do his research. We saw that Dr. Evil looked into how the culture had changed long before Austin Powers ever got around to it. Lesson 4, most of your time is spent managing people, not tasks. Dr. Evil fails at this one miserably. He doesn't do a good job of managing people. In doing so, he has a huge turnover rate and gets betrayed by his own people because they don't believe in the vision.
Yeah, he's the company that cycles through a lot of employees. And that's a sign of,
constant layoffs. So the whole workforce lives in constant fear of and uncertainty of not knowing, you know, what tomorrow is going to bring.
That's not a good environment, not a good culture.
Yeah. And they had their greatest period of economic prosperity when he was frozen for 30 years. And then he comes back and just pisses all over it. And number 2's had it. Lesson 5, success often goes unnoticed. We really see this one with number 2, where he had been super successful in Dr. Evil's absence. And
yeah, that's a good one.
All he really got was he didn't get killed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You get to keep your job. That's about it, you know? No, oh, thank you so much, number 2, for all that you've done in your tenure.
He clearly was the guy. He was the real leader.
Yeah. Lesson 6, you're a translator for everyone and everything.
Not a good translator.
No. In fact, you saw a lot of, like, number 2, again, the better leader here, the better project manager, having to translate to the primary stakeholder in his boss, Dr. Evil, you know, the changes in culture and time. And, you know, he had to explain to him inflation. Lesson 7, the best plans will still fall apart.
All of his plans fell apart.
Yeah. And we see it with number 2 also. Number 2's done great. And then he has the upper hand, man. He comes in with a gun. He holds it to Dr. Evil. And he says, you know, he gets a little petulant and, you know, like at the end of the day, if Dr. Evil had just embraced number 2, and in the littlest, if in that little bit of embracing he tried to do with Scott, you know, if he showed that much care and love to number 2, number 2 probably would have been fine, you know, but he hurt number 2's feelings, you know. What are you talking about? Yeah. But number 2, his plan falls apart because he sat down. He sat in that damn chair.
Yeah. And he knew too.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
you know, in his defense, not all of his plans fell apart. Because he had constituents, or not constituents, but he had plan B's and C's and D's.
Constituencies.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
He, you know, in the very end, he got away.
Yeah.
In another situation where his plans didn't completely screw up was in the beginning where the assassination attempt happened on Austin Powers in the club. Austin Powers hired that individual.
No, Dr. Evil hired that individual.
Right.
They did.
To assassinate Austin. didn't go as planned, and he was there to make sure the task, went through as planned, and because it didn't, terminated the employee.
Yeah, or was that all his plan in the first place in order to so that Austin would see that he froze himself? If he just freezes himself, then it's like what happened to Dr. Evil. But if Austin sees him freeze himself, then Austin is obliged to freeze himself also.
Interesting.
Dr. Evil is good. He's got a plan. He's the kind of leader that is good at putting together a plan. He's just not the right person to execute on that plan. He needs to delegate.
He's an oxymoron. He is an evil genius, but he is also a moron.
Yeah. Well, do you have some final thoughts for our listeners?
Dr. Evil's not a good leader.
Jury's out, guys. We have decided Dr. Evil's leadership skills suck. His project management skills suck. He is good at putting together a plan, and he needs to learn to delegate and let his team take it from there, and maybe not be so personal.
He's good at pivoting and adapting.
Yeah, certainly is good at pivoting and adapting and thinking on his toes. But, his people management skills suck. His time management skills are pretty good.
We can all learn from Dr. Evil.
Yeah. And like they immediately go out and they steal the warheads, and they do a good job of that because he's not so personally invested in that outcome. That's just a step towards, and so it means, but the end goal is so personal to him that he gets in his own way, And I see this with homeowners in remodeling where, the whole goal is to, give them their dream home or whatever it may be. And if they would just get out of our way and let us execute on the plan, we'd end up with a punch list, but they get so caught up in the day to day and get so personally invested in it that you're putting out fires for them. Everything's a problem, everything's huge. And it's like, no, this is a normal part of the process. This is how the sausage is made. And if you just, let us finish, then, at the end of the day, we're going to have a punch list of little things like this that we're going to take care of, And so, yeah, the analogy I'm making is that Dr. Evil, gets in the way of himself. And, of course, does dumb shit like we're going to, use the slow dipping mechanism to kill Austin Powers in a pool of mutated, angry sea bass.
His need to be evil overrides his ability to be efficient
or practical.
Practical, yes.
Yeah, it's got to be big and extravagant. He's too emotionally invested in it to just put some paint on the walls. He's got to buy the best and greatest paint from Italy, and have it shipped in on a boat,
Yeah.
Trying to make some analogies here for the remodeling world where I've come up through the ranks. Anyway, I guess those are our final thoughts. You got anything else before we let the listeners get to bed for the night?
No, just thanks for letting me do this with you.
Yeah. Coming up, we're going to do The Dark Knight with the Joker. We're going to do Voldemort. Probably just start with the first movie. Can't see how we could possibly do all 7 of them. Or I guess there's 8. I don't know. Thanos. And then I've got some other thoughts like the Usual Suspects with Kaiser Sose. Die Hard. Die Hard would be a good one with Hans Gruber. And then I was also thinking Elvis, the Elvis movie, and doing the Colonel.
His manager?
Yeah, the Colonel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, why not?
And I don't have to just do villains. There are actual like business movies like Wolf of Wall Street. We can get into those guys, we have a lot of fun with this. So you guys stay tuned. We'll button up the system, the process, the way that we do it, and tighten it up. And the quality of the show will just get better and better.
I wonder what they want to hear. What villains or heroes or whatever.
Yeah. I'm sure they won't tell us, but
let's find out.
If you do feel so inclined to tell us what movies would you like us to break down, put it in the comments or reach out on the Facebook page. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. I'm rooting for you. Good night.
Flip the pages, take a peek. It's time to dive in every week. Hard Knock, you got brains on fleek. Book of the week.
Hey, Hard Knockers, welcome back to another Book of the Week, where we tackle leadership, life, and project management lessons from books so you don't have to waste your weekend stuck in a pretentious literary swamp. This week, we're talking about Fair Play by Eve Rodsky. Yeah, so about that. Spoiler, it's not exactly a standing ovation. Look, I'll give Eve Rodsky her flowers where she deserves them. She came up with a card system to divide domestic tasks fairly. And that's sharp. It's actionable. And honestly, it's one of the few parts of this book that doesn't smell like a Beverly Hills cocktail party. So what is the card system? Well, it's a brilliant system of dividing tasks fairly. If you're running a household like a project, it makes total sense. Assign the task, own it, complete it. That's project management 101, folks. Accountability with clear ownership. No half-baked, well, I thought you were going to do it nonsense. Honestly, if construction companies ran projects the way most couples divvy up chores, every house would still be a pile of lumber. Eve's card system could and should be adapted straight into project teams. But, big but, here's the rub. The rest of Fair Play feels like a lecture you didn't ask for from someone who wouldn't last 2 minutes in a construction site trailer or even a working class living room. Rodsky grew up and lives in an upper class world, and it shows. There's no concept of both people working 60-hour weeks just to keep the lights on in this book. Meanwhile, she spends about 300 pages dragging men like a bad open mic night, and she's not even passive aggressive about it. She's straight up aggressive. Her highest praise for a man, better than most. Gee, thanks, Eve. I guess after saving for braces and pulling double shifts, we should just be grateful you didn't call us subhuman. And let's not ignore the fun little detail she leaves out. Her husband, Seth Rodsky, the guy she throws under the bus repeatedly, isn't exactly Joe Sixpack. He's Reese Witherspoon's business partner. These folks aren't figuring out how to split diaper duty while clocking overtime. They're figuring out which private jet has better Wi-Fi. No wonder Reese Witherspoon's book club put Fair Play on blast. Connections, baby. One of the biggest ideas Eve Rodsky leans on in Fair Play is the concept of the invisible workload. So that's all the unseen, mental heavy work it takes to keep a household or a project moving. Not just doing tasks, but thinking about, planning, and following through on them. It's a real thing, and it's a smart observation, but here's where it gets a little rich. When it comes to dinner, Eve breaks it down like a forensic accountant, planning the menu, making the grocery list, shopping for ingredients, cooking the meal, cleaning the dishes, storing the leftovers, and probably lighting a candle and naming the chicken too. Every little subtask is highlighted as a burden, and rightfully so. But when it comes to automobile maintenance, just one card, one single task. Like it's the equivalent of flipping the hood open and whispering, be a good little car. Let's be real. Vehicle maintenance isn't a single chore. It's a full project with its own backlog. Scheduling oil changes, checking and topping off fluids, rotating tires, monitoring tire pressure, replacing worn tires, brake pad replacement, battery testing and replacement, diagnosing mystery warning lights, handling state inspections and emissions, tracking recalls, managing insurance, registration, roadside emergencies, keeping maintenance logs for resale, and yeah, washing, waxing, and keeping it clean so you don't feel like a hobo when you pick up your kid from soccer. See what I did there, Mrs. Rodsky? Two can play that game. Of course, I'm sure Mr. Rodsky just drops it off at Costco. If making tacos is a 12-step operation, keeping a vehicle road ready is a full-blown NASA launch sequence. You can't call it invisible labor when women do it and then brush it off like windshield bug splatter when men are the ones shouldering the load. In real project management and in real life, if you pretend a multi-step operation is just one thing, you're not managing. You're setting the whole damn project up to crash and burn harder than the Ford Pinto in rush hour. Is Fair Play useful? Yes. Would I recommend it? Kinda. But only like a YouTube video you skip around to get to the one part that matters. Here's my advice. Steal the card system. It's a game changer. Skip the pity party disguised as gender commentary and apply it like a project manager. Assign tasks, hold ownership, measure results. Because in the real world, whether you're running a construction crew, raising a family, or leading a project team, fair isn't about feelings. Fair is about clarity, commitment, and follow through. You don't build a house by standing around asking everyone how they feel about picking up a hammer. You hand out the blueprints, assign the tasks, and expect the damn walls to go up. No excuses. In project management and life, a task left soaking isn't being considered thoughtfully. It's rotting. And the longer you let things sit, the worse it smells. You want fairness? Say what needs doing. Agree who's doing it. Hold the line until it's done right. Because whether it's a busted schedule,
a sink full of dirty dishes, or a marriage hanging by a thread, chaos creeps in through the cracks of maybe later. In the School of Hard Knocks, there's no curve for good intentions. You either got the job done or you didn't. Oh, and Mr. Rodsky, do better, dude. You're a douchebag. And I hope Eve leaves you and finds a real man. This has been the Book of the Week on the Hard Knock University podcast. I'm Mark Caples, and my wife can go on a girl's day without worrying about if I can handle being a dad. And she doesn't have to set me up for success before she goes.
Welcome to the knock back your seat. Mark's got the feedback, quick on his feet. Got your hard knock lessons in the mix. Brace yourself, his burns are slick.
Look, I know change can be scary. 1 minute, you're playing freeze tag out there at recess. Next thing you know, you're getting zits, your voice gets low, and every time your art teacher, Miss Scanlon, leans over your desk, you feel all squiggly inside. She was a striking woman. Not classically beautiful, but striking.
All right, Hard Knockers, welcome back to another Knockback, where we take the theme of the week, hold it up to the light, and then hit it with a hammer to see what's really inside. This week, we're looking at leadership and project management lessons through a, let's call it, unconventional lens. Specifically, Dr. Evil. Yes, that Dr. Evil. The bald-headed, pinky-wagging cartoon villain who thinks pressing a button and shouting, "Fire the laser!" is the height of strategic planning. Now, normally you wouldn't model your project management career after a man who got outsmarted by a spy with the IQ of a golden retriever. But there's a lot you can learn from how not to do it. So I cooked up 5 questions tied to our theme this week. Let's knock them back one by one. First up, what can project managers learn from Dr. Evil's tendency to assume it all went to plan? Well, hope is not a strategy, guys. Dr. Evil launches every harebrained scheme under the assumption that nothing will go wrong. No contingencies, no backup, just press the button and expect world domination by lunch. Project managers who think like this, well, they're the reason the rest of us have 14-hour days cleaning up disaster zones. Plan for problems, expect the curveballs, build contingencies like your job depends on it, because it does. Next, how does Dr. Evil's leadership style reflect common mistakes in corporate project management? Well, it's simple. Over-reliance on the plan and under-reliance on the people. See, Dr. Evil creates grand master plans that look great on paper, but fall apart because he never bothers to listen, adapt, or trust his team. He literally ignores every warning from his inner circle and then acts shocked when the hero blows up the base. In the real world, companies that cling to a perfect plan, like it's the gospel, are setting themselves up for failure. Plans are guides, not guarantees. You need leaders who can adjust, not just point fingers when the walls cave in. Number 3, why is it important for project managers to have skills like patience and tenacity? Well, because real problems aren't built in one dramatic monologue. See, Dr. Evil throws tantrums the second anything doesn't go exactly his way. He has zero grit, zero patience, just foot stomping and evil laughter. But a good project manager, well, they have the stomach to ride out delays and solve weird problems. Push teams forward when the mission feels impossible. Patience isn't a weakness, it's horsepower. And tenacity isn't optional. It's the price of admission. Dr. Evil wouldn't survive 5 minutes in a real construction trailer. He'd be crying into his Starbucks cup before noon. Number 4, what are the risks of treating project resources as interchangeable, and how does this compare to Dr. Evil's henchmen? This is a good one. Let's be real. Dr. Evil treats his people like Lego bricks, faceless, replaceable, and expendable. Every time a plan fails, he doesn't learn, mentor, or improve. He just hits a trapdoor button and poof, another henchman gone. In real leadership, your people are your only real resource. You start treating skilled workers like disposable parts, and pretty soon, the only thing you're leading is a mass resignation. Value your team, invest in them, and understand that experience, loyalty, and grit cannot be replaced overnight. All right, finally, how can organizations avoid adopting a Dr. Evil school of project management? Easy. Hire real project managers, not clipboard holders, not coffee fetchers, real battle-tested leaders who know how to rally a team and course correct when needed and turn chaos into victory. Invest in your PMs like you invest in your equipment.
Because a $10 million plan in the hands of a $10 project manager is still going to crash harder than Dr. Evil's rocket after Austin Powers pulls the plug. So there you have it. Lessons from the School of Hard Knocks and the School of Dr. Evil. Plan smart, lead with grit, respect your people, and when the inevitable chaos hits, because it will, be the one steering the ship, not the one trapped under the exploding shark tank. Catch you next time, guys. Stay scrappy, stay sharp, and stay dangerous. All right, guys, it's time for some final thoughts. Today, we took a wild ride through the cartoon chaos of Dr. Evil's leadership style. And yeah, we laughed at the pinky rings, the laser beams, and the trapdoors, but behind all the jokes, there's a real lesson here. Success isn't about having an evil plan. It's about having a resilient one. Dr. Evil failed not because he lacked ambition. Hell, the guy shot for the moon, literally. He failed because he lacked execution. He ignored his team. He threw tantrums when things got messy. He trusted the plan more than the people carrying it out. In the real world, that's not villainy, that's amateur hour. Here's the truth. Every leader, every project manager, every dad, boss, builder, or coach that's listening to this right now, you're gonna face chaos. The world's not gonna hand you a tidy checklist. You're gonna get curveballs, setbacks, bad breaks, and moments when it feels like the whole thing is two bad decisions away from blowing up. And in those moments, you have two choices. Blame the plan or lead your people. Real leaders, the ones who survive and thrive at Hard Knock University, they don't panic when the script changes. They adapt. They fight smarter. They rally the troops. They don't quit because the villain monologue got interrupted. They rewrite the damn ending. So, if you take nothing else from today, be the villain they didn't see coming. The one who doesn't fold. The one who doesn't crumble when the plan falls apart. The one who builds a team so tough, so gritty, that even chaos taps out first. Because leadership isn't about looking cool in a swivel chair. It's about staying dangerous when the storm hits. So go out there, build your evil empire, but build it better. Lead like your legacy depends on it, because it does. And as always, stay tough, stay smart, stay dangerous. I'm Mark Caples. This is the Hard Knock University Podcast.